told my team, the first thing I said, and the league brought it up to me. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. And, you know, I'm been very disappointed in how we've played with the energy level, and I was very proud in how we played with the energy level. We didn't play great. It was a crazy game. I'm anxious to look at some of these things that happened, but if they happened the way some of them said, then I'm going to take my own personal action and my own players. But it was a crazy game, and you know, I thought we got after it on the floor more than we have in the last 3 games. We rebounded a little better, made our free throws. I don't know, we still had some turnovers. We had trouble. They did a nice job on Max and Gabe. And they, I thought they played hard too. So I still love Trace Jackson, and Race Thompson. I think has improved as much as anybody in the league. Just seems to be so much under control, getting 14 rebounds. It really hurt losing Markey. I know you won't believe this, but that first 3 was a design play. Shows you how far the head coach has come. I told him last night, and I told him this morning, I said we're going to run the second play of the game, give the kid credit. He knocked it down, but he got in foul trouble, and yet he made a big play when 9-minute mark. I think we were up 3 or 4, and he made that jump hook on the baseline. But we were in foul trouble, and found a way to just compete. Again, not pretty, but it was gritty. So I'll take gritty over pretty, I guess.
Tom, I want to ask about your point guards. Obviously, you make the change in the starting lineup, but see the way both of those guys played, especially at certain times tonight. I mean, could you have imagined it would have worked out that well, just making the shift with?
Sure, that's why I did it. Hell no, not even close. You know, we made the change because of 2 reasons: slow starts, and you know, Tyson in the last 5 games has got 28 assists and 7 turnovers, and so we felt he could get more people involved. They did a pretty good job on our wings, and then when Tyson came in, there was no moping. No, they are good friends. They do pull for one another. I thought the job Tyson did was great too, you know. AJ made some of his free throws, that was a plus. Going 25 to 28 was a real plus, especially making those 3 front ends in the first half. But our 2-point guards I thought played pretty good, and then Tyson got into it defensively a little bit more, which I've been waiting for. And so, I don't know, you know, maybe you learn a little bit. I thought Max and Gabe, tough day for Max, but he still played a lot of minutes, still very valuable to us, but we got to get him some shots, and he's got to get some. But they did a good job on him. I mean, that's a well-coached team, and feel lucky to win.
Tom, a little bit more on Tyson. He gets that 3 in the first half and raises his hands up and kind of looks at the sky like, oh, gee, finally, you know. Did you feel a little something change in him as far as, you know, his kind of emotion and being connected?
Yeah, I did, and maybe learn to play with some emotion. You know, now I didn't want it to get out of hand and give the Michael Jordan tumbling, but I did appreciate that he had a little grit too. I mean, he wanted to go after him, and I mean, you know, and I know that's what I've been complaining about, and that's what they did. So better off asking the players, because if I knew the reason, I would have got it fixed earlier. But you know, we're still a work in progress, and but I think we taught ourselves our own lesson tonight on what it's going to take to win in this league. And all of a sudden, fans are incredible, but all of a sudden people better figure out that Northwestern's good, Rutgers is real good. You know, people better realize there's more than one team. I know they pull for their team, but a lot of good teams in this league, boy, it's hard to win.
You've talked about the grit, but it seemed from an offensive standpoint, the ability for those guys to use that and get contact and kind of play through that was kind of a big thing. I mean, so much of his grit is talked about on the defensive end, but it seemed like it was there on the offensive side to help you guys tonight too.
I would agree with that. I told you after the last game that, you know, there were things that were my fault, and I felt like we had so much ball screen stuff. We changed up some things this game. So coaches got to evaluate too. And, I thought we did a better job with that. We put a couple wrinkles in that I think helped us kind of space the court a little bit better. But, you know, it's the players that play the game, players make the plays, and I still think we got hurt a little bit having Marcus out, because we really thought we could go to him, and if we get him in foul trouble, they don't foul a lot in there. If he ever gets one or two, then it changes the game, and Markey was in foul trouble. I don't know what the one grabbing his shirt was. I didn't see it, but we made some foolish plays, and yet we had some that I didn't understand myself.
With the slow start offensively, for you guys to be able to go for game total 25 to 28 from the line, Paul was 8 for 8 total from the line. How did you feel just how you performed in that way with the free throws in the first half and being able to stay in it in that way?
Well, I think hitting the front ends at 1-on-1 3 times was really important. You know, that is a big deal, because those are free throws that it's either 6 points or sometimes 0 points. Now, I will say this, you know, when you try to, you know, I'm very big on game day, the last thing we do is cut out at the free throw line. It's the dumbest thing in captivity. I guarantee there's not another team in America that does it, because I watch every day how many people lose on a missed free throw. And so last year, we felt it cost us a trip somewhere. And tonight, you know, we gave up one, they hit a 3 on. We stepped in on one, they missed it, got the free. That's 4 points. 4 points is going to determine a lot of games. So I get to still work tomorrow. We still got problems. We still got things we got to accomplish. But working on that stuff will be fun. Working on grit and toughness is not a lot of fun. And so I think I'm going to try to bottle it up, but I'm going to use a lot of this. They might not see much on that game. They're going to see every time they cut somebody out, every time they jumped on the floor for a loose ball. That might be all they see on this game. We'll move forward.
Tom, you get 9 rebounds out of Julius Marble, who's had some games where he hasn't had hardly any, and I'm just wondering, in terms of tone setting and guys you have that have sort of strength and body types that can give you that toughness, how essentially the edge he played with was?
Well, I think if you looked at Julius' rebounds per minute, they'd probably be off the charts. You know, I mean, he has sometimes when he gets 3 or 2, but he's maybe only playing 10 minutes, you know. But he just brought up the key, you know. We have not been very physical. We have not played with any toughness. And he does. And he posts hard. He does a lot of good things. And I was really pleased with his play the last couple days in practice. He's a funny kid. He's been through a lot in his life at a young age, losing his father and everything. And staying focused on what you got to stay focused on is sometimes hard, but I'm really happy for him because he really did some really good things. And Marty was okay. I mean, you know, we want to go to the other side of it. Marty was okay. And Pierre Brooks gave us a couple of good things in there, a couple of good minutes. And Jay Nakins, I thought did some really good things after he got just killed one time on a pick and on a clean pick, but because he wasn't in the position he was supposed to be on. And we told him in a huddle, you know, and boy, the next 3 times he was right where he's supposed to be. So I'm pleased with my freshman. You know, yeah, I want to get Max more, but everybody wants to do that with freshmen.
So just the other day after the Wisconsin game, you told us you haven't had to coach toughness very often. So I'm wondering in those 4 days, you know, how did you do it? When did you sort of sense a change, and how much of it all did Malik have to do with that? It seemed like tonight out there on the floor, he was sort of leading the charge emotionally in a lot of ways.
You know, Steve Smith was in Thursday afternoon. He came in, and I just was sitting in that film room all day looking at film. And he sat with me for an hour, hour and a half. And I said, you know, the media asked me a good question. And after he got up off the floor, he said, what did they ask you? Or what did they say? I said, they said, you know, at this time of year, people are worn out, it's hard to get after people, to get tougher. I thought it was, all kidding aside, a really good point you made. So we didn't beat the hell out of anybody like we did in the good old days where it was more fun. But I did meet with every single kid, and I tried to go over things and show them things on film and talk to them, and just tried to do it that way. And had some good meetings with Mark, and really felt good about those. And really a lot of meetings with our point guards. And probably the guys I met with the least didn't play the best today. And that's because they did a good job too. You know, there is another team involved in this. It's not just what we do, it's what the opponent does. As I said, Mike's done a good job with that team. They play hard, they play tough, they're physical. And so we talked about it, and I guess we sort of demanded it. I said, I'm gonna change the lineup, I'll change more guys. We don't play with it. And for whatever reason, they really band together too today. I mean, this team has done that for a big part of the year, but these last couple of weeks has just been different. And you know, you always hit these lulls, I guess. Sometimes they really affect you. We win one or two of those games, by the ones we lost by a point. We're probably all feeling better about ourselves, and yet it would have been phony because we weren't there. We needed to get a gritty win. We really needed that.
I guess, you know, in a little bit of two parts, I guess first kind of like how did some of the toughness and beatings you see kind of be so different, I guess, this week by comparison, and then kind of some of those foolish plays you mentioned is what did you see on those? I thought it was too much.
You know, I don't know if I saw, I mean, it was physical game, man. It was physical. But, you know, my toughness is what happens in the huddles and what happens on the floor. Meaning, are we getting after it on the floor or not? And there was a play one of my players made early, and he played about 2 minutes and came out. Because he reached like my 95-year-old mother would have instead of getting his nose bloody. And that kind of set the tempo. So in a way, he did me a favor. Because I made it perfectly clear then that I'll rotate people like Russian roulette if we're not going to get on the floor. And, you know, I mean, Pierre did a good job. I mean, Jaden did a good job when he was in there. I almost put Keon in there. I mean, I'm going to find somebody that's going to get after it. And I just thought that was a big difference. Now that's sad because that should be the norm. But I got to live with what I got to live with and try to improve on those things, and that's kind of what this time of year is for.
Tom, what did you say to Tyson to get him to take one more shot than Gabe and Max combined?
You know, Tyson's a really good shooter. I mean, I've got a really good shooting point guard. I got one that's really good at other things. And I think to his credit, he hasn't been taking a lot of shots. And I say to his credit, he was trying to fit in and realize he has to be a passer. But I really do need him to take some of those shots. And so where everybody thinks that I'm always on people about shooting, I was on him about not shooting. I wanted him to shoot more. And, but you know, it wasn't just that it all happened. You all said it, he played with more energy. It's not that scientific, you know, it's play with some energy, have some fun, play better, you know, pretty simple. And I think this team needed to figure that out, and I don't know if they figured it out yet, but they had a real good dose of it today, because we had our ups and downs. You know, we started the second half, a couple of turnovers led to something, you know, and then we battled back. Then they cut it back to 3, and Mark made a big shot. Malik made a good play. Gabe threw a lob, and everybody did a little something. And I was happy for them. I think you have to figure that out. You have to win that way, and then you have to try to bottle it.
Tom, you mentioned needing a gritty win. Akins is a pretty gritty player for you guys. Where do you think that he's at this point in the year as you are kind of getting ready to close out the regular season?
Well, we got, what, 7 games left or 8? Seems like 100. But we got enough games left, so I don't look at it as the end of the season. I mean, we are getting down to the final quarter. But, you know, I mean, Gabe's still Gabe. I mean, Gabe can make shots, and I need Gabe, I need Max. I think you're gonna see Pierre playing a little more, and Jake playing a little more, you know, I'd like to be in a position where I didn't wanna play the two rookie freshmen, meaning Pierre and Jaden at the same time, but with Gabe in foul trouble and then not playing as well early, it created some problems. So I think we got a good rotation there, and I think maybe we play harder. I think we had a great rotation at the point. I think we had a great rotation at the 4, and if Julius plays like he did and we get a little bit out of Marty as we get to these bigger teams, we might have a great rotation at the 5. And that could make us better, but still gotta get more consistent with our offense, but we did shrunk our package down a little bit. We ran some of our old stuff, and I just thought we were getting the ball moving a lot better than we did the other night.
Malik is typically your quiet captain out there, but today, I mean, it seemed like he really changed. He was vocal, he was animated, dancing on the bench, celebrating after points. I mean, just kind of a different change than what you typically see in him. I mean, how nice was that of you to see?
You know, I'm not a very big guy you know, they always say that's my personality, and I always tell them where to stick their personality, because there has to be passion if you're a writer, you know, if you're in sports, if you're an SID, if you're a coach, and if you're a player. And if you don't play with that, then you're not leading. You know, this lead by example stuff, it just doesn't turn me on at all. I want people to lead by showing people. I like people to, you know, maybe since I won a championship with Mateen, I love that kind of, and you say, well, everybody can't be, hey, Denzel grew into that. He wasn't that way. Travis grew into that. You know, Draymond, he had that, but, you know, there's a lot of people that I said the same thing to that I say to these guys, you know. Tyson, well, I've never done that before. Hey, did he look like he was having fun today? Yeah, I thought so too. So that'll be my first call when I get back to my office, you know. Trust me on how you can have fun. And we did, because we just played hard. I keep saying it, we didn't shoot the lights out. We did from the free throw line. We didn't shoot it out from the 3. We didn't play air-free basketball. Played hard as hell and made some things happen.
One with AJ, using his size to his advantage in a lot of ways to kind of get north and south. How much does that make you guys a little different team? And what was the explanation on the second technical?
You know, I just saw a video of it, and if the video I saw was correct, I'm flabbergasted. Now, if there was more to it, you know, then I'm gonna rip AJ, okay? Because I ain't gonna put up with that. You know, I thought the first one, thought both guys bowed each other. I mean, it's so sad that we're into a position in this country that is where double technicals. I mean, you know, like man, you know, Ed Hightower probably would have jumped in there and said, "Hey, knock it off, go back," you know. Now it's double technicals. Let's check the monitor and see if we should throw the guy out of the country or whatever. You know, I'm making fun of it because I didn't see it. But let me state that, so don't one of you guys write something stupid. I did not see it, okay? I saw some video of it recently, and I couldn't figure it out, so maybe somebody will call and tell me, or maybe we just move on, you know? But I didn't like the fact that the first one, to me, I'm not big on guys talking it on the court. I mean, I'm big on celebrating with your teammates, not celebrating with anybody else. And so if that happened, then I got my own reprimanding to do, because I'm not putting up with that either. So he's gonna learn from it, because I think what happened early got him in the doghouse. And trust me, I've been in the doghouse before. You usually don't get out unscathed.
What about from his physical size standpoint though?
Yeah, you know, I think there's where you're seeing something in like Gabe or like Max right now. Max drives down that lane. a little bump, you know, he's just gotta get stronger, you know, that's part of Jaden, a little bump, he's gotta get stronger, and, but that's cause he's a freshman and he's going against some fourth and fifth year guys, you know, and so I think it's really helping AJ that he is a little tougher than most, and he is 210 pounds, you know, and that helps sometimes, you know, so yeah, I think him getting downhill is great. Now that we can get him downhill, I think we can spray the ball a little better, and we'll do a better job of that too. So hopefully we can grow from this.
Anything else, guys? All right.
Appreciate it, guys, ladies.